Good evening.
President Bush plays hard and tough with the Israelis over Middle East peace talks. Eye on America updates the Kennedy assassination, fact, fiction, and conspiracy theories. And the money crunch, how you can travel the holidays for less. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening. Dan Rather reporting. The shaky Middle East peace process lurched forward again today, or so it seemed. President Bush invited Israel and its Arab neighbors to Washington for face-to-face talks beginning December 4th. At the White House, the president denied a request from Israeli Prime Minister Shamir to delay the talks. So far, only Jordan has agreed to attend the talks in Washington. A group of economists told President Bush today the Federal Reserve must lower interest rates again if the economy has any chance to get moving. Stocks took another sharp drop as investors continued to worry about what, if anything, Mr. Bush plans to do about the economy. The Dow was down as much as 41 points before finally closing with a loss of nearly 30. On the heels of finger-pointing about the economy, the credit card controversy, and yesterday's civil rights confusion, President Bush made a quick getaway to Camp David today, leaving a White House in what some people describe as disarray. Correspondent Susan Spencer has more about that tonight. Susan, what's the story?
Dan, as you said, the economy is in trouble, the polls are down, and the White House doesn't seem to really know how to cope with either one. That and some phenomenal missteps of late have Republicans worried.
In the political business, perception is oftentimes reality, and the perception is it's out of control.
But for George Bush, reality this month hasn't been so hot either. November 5th, Bush's favorite, Richard Thornburg, is trounced in the Pennsylvania Senate race. Next day, a bizarre sunrise news conference, and Mr. Bush cancels a big trip to Asia, creating at least an impression of panic. Then an offhand comment about credit cards contributes to a huge drop in the stock market on November 15th. On November 21st, a civil rights document the president says he never saw outrages supporters of affirmative action.
Well, I think what's happened was that the president was up so high that he almost forgot what it's like to be down.
The president's defenders always try to put Mr. Bush above the fray.
Well, the president is clearly in charge of the White House, and the president is actually accomplishing a great deal week after week at the White House.
As for the snafus, supporters point the finger most often at the chief of staff, the powerful and often abrasive John Sununu. He certainly wasn't having a very good day today.
John Sununu is finding himself in a position of being very controversial. He may have to ask himself one of these days if he can best serve this president, maybe by leaving.
No hint of that yet, and no amount of staff changes will compensate for what is widely seen as the president's real problem.
If the economy picks up, this will all be completely forgotten. And if the economy doesn't pick up, this isn't going to make much difference.
Still, Democrats have viewed the last few weeks with downright glee, joking that the Bush White House and its once seemingly invincible leader have looked a lot recently like the gang that couldn't shoot straight. Dan?
Susan, what does this mean for the Bush-Quayle re-election campaign effort?
That's a $64 question, Dan. Democrats would like to think that this same kind of management style would carry on into the campaign. What the president is going to do about picking his campaign manager is still completely up in the air. He hasn't confided to anybody yet. He's expected to make those decisions over Thanksgiving.
Susan Spencer, thanks. Part of the background of all of this, and with Susan's help, we've established that a furious behind-the-scenes battle is already swirling around President Bush over who is to be his chief of staff and who is to run his re-election campaign. A movement to get John Sununu out as chief of staff has been revived, and a companion movement has developed trying to prevent Sununu from running the Bush-Quayle re-election effort, whether he stays as chief of staff or not. Treasury Secretary Brady, Commerce Secretary Mosbacher, Transportation Secretary Skinner, Mr. Bush's pollster Robert Teeter, advertising man Roger Ailes, and sometimes Bush troubleshooter Fred Malek all are described as being involved one way or another on one side.